Shane Richardson is the General Manager of Football, South Sydney Rabbitohs. Richo, thanks for joining the show. You've just heard what we've been talking about, this whole idea that the wealthier clubs should potentially help the poorer clubs through what's a very difficult, unprecedented time in our game. What's your view?
Yeah, well, my view is that, what we've got to is change completely the way we think about the game going forward. Now, we've got a real opportunity here to recalibrate the whole way we do it. When we sat down last time when I was when they made the decisions, when the players grabbed for the money and the clubs grabbed for the money and nothing was left over and reserves or otherwise it all pushed out, and we all knew that it was unsustainable, but we still pushed ahead. What we've got to do here is, and there's no doubt this great game will keep going, whether Shane Richardson or anybody else is involved, but it'll keep going for the same reason they kept going up to Super League. Because people in canteens and running, all over the ground in Australia are going to keep it going. What we've got to do now is make some sensible decisions about how to recalibrate the game. What is our head office? How do we disperse that down the ladder? And how do we cut back the overheads and the ridiculous money that's been spent over the past period of time? I'll say this to you, though. I think it's very important to note, no one put their hand out to help South. No one. And in fact, if we'd have collapsed in the first 2 years, no one was going to put their hands out to save us. So we were very fortunate, Russell, etc. But we run a really tight business. And I understand the argument that no one helped us then. I'm not saying we don't help people now. But we've got to have an whole-of-game view, not just about the clubs, because it's not just about the clubs. What are we doing with our pathways? What are we doing with the number of development people we've got in head office? What are we doing to cut the costs and overheads? Because when we come into the new season, we've got a wonderful opportunity now because of this to recalibrate players' wages, to recalibrate the way clubs are actually running, which is not successful because, like it or not, we're talking about 4 clubs only are still making a profit now. Here's a wonderful opportunity to take this game to the next level. And some people, including me, have got to make some tough decisions about what that looks like. And that's what I'd like to say about it is it's all right having all that, but I think there's an opportunity there to recalibrate the way we disperse our development, the way we disperse the staff from the NRL, the way the clubs actually recalibrate their balance sheets and what they're doing, the payment of players, because from the beginning we knew we gave the clubs too much money and the players as well. It's got to change.
So, Richo, given what you said, the recalibration, if that goes ahead, what's a fair salary cap for the players?
Look, I'll tell you what I think, mate. And this is not, I'm not involved in the CBA development discussions or anything like that. But, at the moment, over the next 18 months, this game needs at least a minimum of a 25% cut across the board. Because we've taken cuts in the club at the moment, which is one of the saddest 2 days of my life. I've having to tell people that they've got to go home to their wives and tell them that there is no money for them until this game starts again. They've got to pay mortgages and they've got to tell their kids and they've got to dress their kids for school. All those things, all of a sudden, overnight, we had to tell those hard stories, including me. I'm in the same situation as well. I'm still down without pay for much my 2 weeks of holidays is up to. So what I'm saying is they are tough decisions that the game has to make. But there are tough decisions that the players have to make as well, because the recalibration has got to be importantly not just for this year. It's got to be across the board, because the game cannot sustain the wages of the football departments, and including Shane Richardson, of the football departments and the players' payments as it is now. It's not a workable business model. And any person who sat down and had a look at it would tell you that. We sat down and had a look at it 4 years ago and said it's not a workable business model, but we capitulated. We showed, plastic balls, to be brutally honest, and made decisions that were based on the pressure from clubs and the pressure from players. This is the chance to start it again and say, this is what we need to do, guys, and you need to participate in it. Because there's no more people are doing that at the base of the game for so long for nothing, and they get nothing back in return for it. It's just, we've got to stop the greed.
Richo, you talk about when you guys were kicked out last time, no one put their hand up to help South Sydney, right?
Yep. And
then you just spoke about how difficult it is to tell people that they haven't got a job tomorrow and they're going home. And we're not talking about guys on mega bucks. We're talking about mums and dads who work in the game and you've sent home. The problem I've got, if we can't sustain 16 clubs in our competition and find a way to do that, that happens across the game, mate, and it becomes forever. Do you believe 16 teams is the right number?
No, I don't believe 16 teams is the right number, but I also don't believe that we don't do something to help those clubs. I'm not saying that in any way. But what I am saying is, what is a sustainable business model? How does it work? And how do the clubs fit into it? And they've got to fit into it. Now, the point was made before about sustainability and you weren't going to put more money towards it or otherwise. And we loaned clubs money, which has all been paid back, by the way, over the period. There was whinging and whining at the time. What I'm saying, though, is I'm not advocating we get rid of clubs. What I'm saying to you, though, if you don't start from the emotion of we have to get rid of Manly or Cronulla or South, you start from what is the business model, how are you able to sustain that business model, and how are we going to fit everybody into that business model. South might be able to pay the totality of the salary cap of 10 million, and Cronulla might be only able to pay 8 million. But the bottom line is 8 million is the amount, because at the end of the day, the player payments and football departments are the major part of the business. And unless they are brought down, there is no chance of us going forward in the next 18 months.
I don't think anyone in the world thinks that some of the salaries in rugby league now are sustainable, Richard. Like we hear, and I think most of the comment that comes out is pretty close to the mark, players on ridiculous money when something has to be done to fix this.
Players aren't on ridiculous money, mate.
Well, I'll tell you a few that are if you want to start.
What was ridiculous? What was ridiculous was that we allowed it to happen. They didn't. You said the players demanded and all the rest of it. At the end of the day, we agreed to it and acquiesced to it as a business. Now, we control the wages of our business. And so in this CBA that's coming up at the moment, the decision's got to be made, what do we look like for the next 18 months and how is it sustainable? That's where it's got to start from, not with a Cronulla, because at the end of the day, if you're there negotiating on behalf of the players and you've got 2 less teams, that's a lot of players. 60 players are out of work. All I'm saying is that we have to run a business successfully internally, and the major part of that is what do we pay the wages to our football clubs, our coaches and our players. It's not the players' fault they're paid the money, it's the business itself.
Why did the business allow this to happen then, Richard?
I'll tell you why, mate, and it was there. We mapped out, I did a 12 months of a life, which I got bagged for and blamed and this and that. But the bottom line was I spent 112 pages I submitted to the NRL about the cost savings and things we needed to do. How we needed to disperse the NRL, the development staff down to the states. We need to put severe KPIs on them to meet the agreements as far as participation, et cetera, go, and have a look at that and change the way we do our business dramatically. It was a sustained ability to be able to say to the clubs then, you can't spend $2 million on second-tier players. You can't spend all this money on coaches, et cetera. And what happened was, mate, it was all yes, and we ticked it, and we went to the board, and it was, oh, yes, it's one of... And then when it came to the bottom line, vested interests on both sides capitulated.
Richo, terrific insight there. We really appreciate your time and all the very best in the months ahead.
One thing I want to say, mate, that for all those fans and members out there, I've been since 6-year-old. I'm telling you, the game won't die.
Yeah.
It'll just get better.
You are spot on. And we appreciate your time. All the best in the coming months.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.